in to talk about a little bit about black metal. You're going to inform me a little bit. I'm going to ask you to forgive my ignorance. Let me know a little bit about black metal compared to other metals, and also talk a little bit about how you've rescored the Caligari 100, which is going to be featuring in the Perth Horror Film Fest coming up next month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so how's it going, Ben? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's great.
Cool. So first of all, please forgive my ignorance. What is black metal compared to other forms of heavy metal, death metal, stuff like that?
Sure. I guess just like anything, there's subgenres and changes over time. Whatever.
Yeah.
I suppose death metal is sort of your growly, heavier stuff that sort of started with like bigger bands like Slayer, that kind of thing. That was sort of leaning towards that thrash into the death metal thing.
Yeah.
And then I suppose black metal sort of came around in the 90s. And to listen to wise, there's lots more blast beats, which is like, I'll demonstrate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like kick snare, you know. Like, it's really like a faster.
Right.
It generally has a tinnier sound.
Let's get you to pull your microphone.
Oh, sorry, mate.
No, you're all right.
Is that, am I on? Or?
Yep, that's better.
Okay,
yep.
All right, that's all right. And the keys are a bit more like minor sounding, sometimes a bit dissonant.
Right.
There's a tremolo picking style, which kind of has a tinny kind of evil sort of a sound, and I guess that's the good job.
So it's meant to invoke more of like a spiritual vibe sort of thing, and
yeah, I guess just like a creepy kind of feeling, you know, like it's still heavy and like rocky and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a different feel, I suppose, and the vocals are a bit more like our witchy, trolly kind of thing rather than that deep death metal sort of thing. You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you are part of a band called Demon Sin, correct?
Yeah. I mean, Demon Sin is just me all by myself, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, cool. All right. And how long have you been making tunes?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing tunes in other bands for a long time, but Demon Sin, this project started in 2020 because I'm a big horror fan and I just wanted to do like a crust punk, black metal-y sort of a thing that's all horror based.
Yeah.
So all the songs, before I started doing scores, all the songs are based on horror films. You know,
right.
Like every single one, the samples and, you know, references, all that sort of stuff.
It's just where you get your sort of inspiration from and stuff. And
yeah, I guess for this one, absolutely.
And sort of new horror movies or old horror movies, like to sort of like go for Saw movies or like old Brad Stoker's Dracula and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. I guess a mix really, because there's obviously there's fantastic new horror, but I like a mix of stuff. 2021, I put out an album called Dr. Fulci, which is all based on Lucio Fulci films. He's an Italian horror director.
Right.
He's long passed away now, but his films are like amazing, one of my favourites. And then last year I scored Nosferatu, which is my first like.
Nosferatu, I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's the old Empire. I think there's a new film coming out called what is it? Dawn of the my brain's not working. But there's a new film based on the same vampire, you know, Dracula story coming out anyway.
Right.
But yeah, so Nosferatu, I did the black metal score to that last year, and then this year I've done the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yeah.
And so the first one was called Nosferatu 100. It's 100 years old. Caligari. It's over 100 years old now.
Got ya. Yeah, right. And so what is the actual storyline of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari about?
Yeah, so it's a strange one. It's an expressionist film. So like visually, this isn't the story. But
yeah.
Visually, it's really obviously a set, but like not in a bad way. Like it doesn't look cheap or anything. It's just all kind of very like big crooked lines and paint and all kind of. They're not trying to go for realism. You know?
Yeah, going more for sort of the storyline instead of the visuals.
Well, no, I guess the visuals are a big part of it. They're not trying to look realistic, I suppose. Like it looks like they're obviously
in a theatre or something like that.
Yeah, strange. Kind of
yeah.
You know? And the storyline, I guess, is Dr. Caligari is a odd little big hunchback-looking guy with a top hat.
Yeah,
definitely the bad guy, you know. And he has a somnambulist in a box, which is a sleepwalker.
Oh.
And he puts him on a show. People come to see this guy, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. He's got this guy in the cabinet, you know.
Yeah.
And the guy predicts the future. But Caligari uses him to like murder people. Like that's kind of his ulterior motive or whatever.
Right.
That's the basic story anyway. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. There's some old school horrors that I'm not aware of that I might have to go back and check out.
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
Yeah.
So when you say you did music and have a band and things like that, what's your go-to instrument? Would you say you specialize in?
I mean, I started playing guitar when I was very young, and so I guess that's always my first one. But I played bass in other bands, played keys a bit, and I started playing drums 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah.
Right. So how many instruments are involved in the sort of rescore of something like Dr. Caligari?
I guess all of the above. So yeah, like multiple guitar tracks, playing doing different things, bass, drums, and keys. Yeah.
Far out. Yeah, and is this all produced under your record label, Wrestling Records?
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And do you have like when did you sort of start this record label?
Yeah. So I had another black metal solo project I'm still doing called Celestial Shadows.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily horror based and sounds a bit different. But I started in 2015, and then in 2019 I wanted to put out my first physical release under that. And I thought this should really have a label attached to it, And then so I started Wrestling Records, and then got other friends and other bands involved from there, and it just kind of grew from there, really. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And is there a big scene here in WA? Is there many bands that are out there looking for a record label to sort of be under? And
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about bands specifically looking for record labels, but there's definitely a good metal scene, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
The biggest thing, there's one this weekend actually, is Pornography. They do like a monthly show up at Convenience at Northbridge. You probably know this. And that's been going for, I think it's the 5th birthday this year, and that's really strong. Has a big turnout, and that 4 or 5 different bands play there every time, and there's other bands that go on in between as well. Like,
local bands, or are we getting sort of fly-ins and like international or even like national gigs, like from the eastern states, come over?
Yeah, so a mix, I suppose. I think there's been a couple of Eastern States bands over this year for Pornography, but I mean, international bands, we've got a few coming this year. Like, shows coming up. Yeah, like Napalm Death's coming back, Cattle Decapitation, lots of stuff. Yeah.
Far out.
So there's a pretty strong metal scene for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool. And what do you recommend for people that are sort of at that stage where maybe they've got a garage band or something like that and they're making some good tunes? How do they get exposure?
That's a tough one, eh?
Yeah.
If you know the secret, I'd love to know.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me is I just put it out there. Like I put it out there, I send it to as many people as possible.
And is there a strong network on like social media for guys in the various forms of metal?
Yeah, I think there is. Like I'm in a lot of, like that's basically the only reason I'm on social media is to put my stuff out there.
Yeah, just network with people and stuff. And
yeah, and there's lots of groups, like specific subgenre groups as well. So you can find the audience that's going to dig your stuff, I think, through all that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And tell me about the Perth Horror Film Fest coming up next month.
What I was going to say next. How did you get involved in all that?
Yeah, so I saw that the first one was last year and the second one was coming up. So earlier this year, I hadn't finished the film, but I was working on it because Nosferatu, I really enjoyed doing that last year. Actually, they showed a 20-minute edit of Nosferatu at the Horrorography last year.
Right.
A smaller edit of it, but that's in its life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just contacted them, like you said, networking, that sort of thing. I contacted them, said, look, I did this film last year and I'm currently working on the next one. Would you be up for showing it? And they were keen. So that was as simple as that, really. Yeah.
Right. And actually, I heard through the grapevine that Caligari 100, the one that you have done the rescore for, has actually sold out at the Perth Horror Film Fest. I've been assured that there are lots of tickets available to other showings during the film festival, but yours is actually sold out. So that's always good to know.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah.
But the rest of the weekend is awesome. I've got tickets to everything. So the Saturday night they're showing The Last Woman on Earth and some other short films.
Right.
Sunday lunchtime there's a bunch of R-rated short films on, like the more extreme horror, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
And then Sunday night, Friday the 13th on the big screen. So I'm looking forward to that. The original.
The classic, yeah. Can't go wrong with
How
that.
often you get able to catch a screening of that these days, is it? Especially on the big screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really great setup there too. So I was there just for the Abominable Snowman recently, the last Perth horror screening. It's impressive. It's a really great setup. So I'm pumped to be able to see.
I often wonder though, like when we watch it back now with updated visuals and stuff, whether watching the original still has the same impact as it would when it first came out.
Oh, it's hard to say, man. I mean, it does for me, but obviously it's it was a long time ago. So you're right. It's probably the impact wise is going to be different.
If someone's watching it for the first time, they probably won't feel like we would when we first see it come out, and then it's
That's right. Absolutely, like the kills, that kind of thing. I suppose we're a bit more used to that, maybe, or it depends.
More desensitized to it.
Yeah, desensitized, exactly. Yeah, still a great film, though.
I'm just loading up some of them now. I've just Bluetoothed my phone where you've sent those files for the Caligari 100. Bluetooth that to the Roadcaster. So if everything goes well here, and I've managed to do the tech side of things correctly, Nate. This is normally his job. He's normally the tech guy. Then we should play. Which one should we give people a sample of? The Taking of Jane or the Caligari medley?
The Caligari medley is great, but it goes for a really long time. So if you need to go for a smoke, that might be one too.
Yeah.
But the Taking of Jane's probably the one to go for.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I listened to a couple of those the other day when you sent them through. We'll play a bit of the Taking of Jane. I believe it goes for about 5 minutes. So we'll see how we go. And if I leave the Bluetooth up and put the mic slides down, Nate, that means that we'll still be listening, but we will be able to talk.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's do that.
Beautiful.
Here it is, The Taking of Jane from the Caligari 100, rescored by Ben from Demon Sin. Beautiful.